The stories that you tell about your life aren't really true. Any story that you tell always has some sort of spin or perspective on it that's different. My name is Francesca Pepiot, and one of my very favorite sayings of all times is there are three sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth. Yeah. But why is it that you're stuck in your life spinning around with the same old stories going through your head? It's simply perspective. Now, when I was younger, I had a story that went on in my brain that would prove that it was my mother's fault that I had a weight problem. Yeah, it was all her fault. She had a pediatrician who decided that if I did not eat my peas at dinner, I would have to eat them at breakfast. And if I did not finish them at breakfast, I would must eat them at the next meal and the next until I finished them. Well, this was a rather dramatic story, and I could then get a lot of sympathy from people because I would be the hard done by person, where my mean old force feeding mother was the bad guy. But it had nothing to do with the hamburgers and pizza and all of those other things. No, it was my mean, awful, horrible mother who force fed me peas. Well, I really went to town on that. I lived on that story for the longest time. Even my husband would say to me, "Oh, tell us the story again about the peas. I just can't get enough." Yeah, thanks. Well, there's a story a little further away from me about two brothers. They were twins, and they grew up in exactly the same house, exactly the same socioeconomic background, went to the same schools, had the same clothing, the same parents, the same food, the same absolutely everything. But one of them went on to be a priest, and the other one went on to be a serial criminal. Well, this reporter found out about them and went to both of the brothers and interviewed them both and said the same question to each of them: what happened? And each brother had exactly the same answer. Well, what could I do? You see where I came from. And that's what keeps people stuck. We tell these stories to ourselves to make us feel better about the silly choices we've made, or the stalls in our career, or the ridiculous people we've had to deal with, or all the things that have gone wrong are wound around again and again in our heads, telling us this story, this false tale of woe that's keeping us stuck. For example, there's lots of exercises to do to help rewrite this life, to change the perspective. You can take one of those incidents in your life and just shift it a little bit, like I did with the pea story. I turned my mother into the hero. She was the nurturer. She was feeding me. She was taking care of me. And it really made a big difference. I still have a weight issue, but that's not to do with my mother. Anyway, there are things you can do. For example, you can use this at work. Your boss is suddenly getting crazy and yelling at you, and you're just like freaking out, and you want to yell back, but you still want to keep your job. And you're going home and you're getting steamed and fumed about the whole thing. And then suddenly you get home and you want to, yell at your partner and kick your cat, and you're just, ugh. But then you quiet down, you go into a quiet place, you pull out your computer or a pad of paper, and you start writing out a recasting of that whole scenario. You you cast yourself as the star, the hero employee who knows how to do everything, who has all the answers, who has the witty comebacks, who's got everything going on for him. And as you're working on that, you'll be surprised that maybe you'll come up with some of the answers of problems that were in that question and in that argument to begin with. Then you can go back into work and be the employee of the month and show off how great you are. It's just a change of perspective to rewrite your life a little bit. Now, this all sounds fun and exciting for, fun little frivolous things like this, but how do you rewrite something that was devastating? Um, my husband of 30 years died in an instant. He was 55 years old. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't believe it. I was heartbroken and crushed and gutted and nothing. I couldn't do anything until I suddenly thought, well, maybe these can help me. And I began looking at it in a different perspective and saying, I had 30 years with this amazing person. We had memories. We had a home together. We had so much friends, and it didn't make it go away, but it certainly softened me. And when I realized that I could live my life being angry and bitter and annoyed and how dare you and why did you take him? Or I could appreciate the time that I did have with him. And I did. And it was wonderful. So don't sit and be stuck in your life and justify the bad choices and the staying at a job you don't like and doing things along those lines. Because when you think about it, the truth is that these ideas came into our minds when we were about 5 years old. Yes, my thing is making a noise. When you were about 5 years old. Now, would you allow a 5 year old to drive your car? I don't think so. But you are allowing a 5 year old to drive your life. So it's about time that you took a hold of your life and realized the amazing person that you are. And just a slight shift in perception, you can rewrite your life and uncover the magnificence that you are and live to the potential and your birthright of how magnificent you really are. My name is Francesca Pepiot, and I would really like to help you rewrite your life.